Jerome, and a wonderful good evening to all of you. I was not scheduled to speak, and I don't intend to give a long speech, but I could not miss the opportunity as the political leader of the Barbados Labour Party to be here, to throw my full support and to commit the full institutional support of the Barbados Labour Party behind Gregory Nichols and the victory campaign on May 25 in this constituency. And there's a very important and particular reason why I do not want to speak at this time. I am engaged with the Economic Committee of the Barbados Labour Party in a preparatory exercise which is perhaps more important than any exercise in which I have been involved in my entire professional career. I believe that the next budget debate will be the most single important debate in the history of this country. This country is facing not just one crisis, but a multiplicity of crises. And I feel that the country can do better, and that the Barbados Labour Party has to point the way to a better future. And I'm spending my time getting ready for that day. And I'm getting ready for it because what is happening in this country now is beyond anything that I have seen or experienced in a professional career as an economist that go back to 1974. I remember in 1974 sitting as a postgraduate student at the University of the West Indies at the feet of some of the greatest economists in the history of the Caribbean, discussing the implications for the world of Nixon's decision to change the arrangements that had governed the world economy since the Second World War, and to let the US dollar float rather than be fixed in relation to the world. And I remember sitting in Jamaica as a director of economics at the Boston Institute, helping to try to put together policies to reconcile what will not be reconciled. Michael Manley's concept of a socialist transformation in an economy that did not know growth. And I remember coming back to Barbados in 1981-82. Tom Adams asked me to help put together a program with the International Monetary Fund to help save his economy, but a program that did not have a devaluation. And then in 1983-82, he asked me to coordinate the preparation of a development program for this country. And in 1994, I remember taking over the leadership of this country with an IMF man stationed at the door to tell me what to do. With unemployment at 24%, with no growth in the economy, no investments in the economy, but believing that we could do better. And at once, I set the minds and the imagination of the people of Barbados and motivated the Labour Party behind it, that we could bring this country out of a dire morass. I said it on a Sunday and stable plateau. And what we're facing now make all of those crises and those situations that we've seen in the past look modest by comparison. Will Barbados understand that what this country is facing in 2011 makes what it faced in 1991 modest by comparison. The 1991 experience is one in which the country came out after 2 years. We are going into a crisis 3 years duration. But it's a crisis of many aspects that would unaddressed indicates and suggests that the solution to which this government is heading is one in which a massive cut in the standard of living of our people is going to be the only solution to the problems that we face. I want to avoid a situation, and I want the Labour Party and the civil society of Barbados to work with me to avoid a situation where for the first time in our history there has to be a massive cut in the standard of living of our people as a solution to the problems of this country. I am a different person now. I have to be. I am. Because I see the world through different eyes. I don't only see the world now through the eyes of a Labour Party politician, although I still do. But I see the world through the eyes of a father like you. And I want my children, like your children, to live in a country that is better than the country that they live in. And I am motivated not so much by politics, although that is important too, but by the desire to make your children's lives and my children's lives better than my life was. And I pledge to you that I will use every talent that I have, all my experience, to make sure that better comes to Barbados. I owe it to you, I owe it to your children, but I owe it to my children. And I am greatly, deeply concerned that on the course on which this country is embarked, with no serious correction, the dream of a better life for our people, the dream of a better life for your children, the dream of a better life for my children, could be turned into a nightmare. And I have mobilized all the talents in the Barbados Party over the course of the last year. So let us work together so that when we speak in the budget, it will not only to explain what the crisis is and to criticize the government, but to be able to point the way towards what needs to be done to make things better for the people of this country. And I will be speaking of that, and tomorrow afternoon we meet full economic team, getting ready for the budget, because we have to rescue and restore this country in a way that has never been rescued. And the politics will come. But I need to give you some politics too. Because what is being experienced in Barbados is the most dangerous and irresponsible political experiment and maneuver in the history of this country. David Thompson has a lot to answer for. A lot to answer for. And there is a political experiment and maneuver that has been foisted on this country by David Thompson. That can have disastrous, and is already having disastrous economic consequences It is now quite clear that David Thompson really did not want Prime Minister to succeed in his Prime Minister. But he felt that Sinclair didn't have the support, as it proved in the cabinet, to be able to rise to the position and hold the position of Prime Minister because the members did not want it. And what he did was to put Sinclair in a position as a Minister of Finance, where Sinclair could use the position of Minister of Finance to advance his claims and his ambitions as an aspirant to be a Prime Minister of this country. Now, I'm not going to get into the mechanics of the politics of the Democratic Party. But I was the Minister of Finance myself and the Prime Minister for almost 40 years. And I know what it takes to be Minister of Finance. And I know what it takes to be a Prime Minister. And I know that a Minister of Finance has to be measured in what he says or does. He has to be prepared not to invent fantasies about how good things are, but he has to rest his policies on the best information that is available. And there's a history in the Ministry of Finance where the ministers would rather not have unpleasant surprises, but would use the most conservative scenario of things. Because the worst thing you can do in the Ministry of Finance is to believe that things are better than they are, or believe that you are going to get in coppers that are not going to come in. It is that you as a housewife believing that you can get some money for your husband in the month and the money is not coming in. You cannot afford to have an overly optimistic, lurid view of the world in the Ministry of Finance. You have to be a realist. The Ministry of Finance in Barbados is no place for a person who wants to use the office not to manage your affairs, but to use the office entirely to advance his ambitions to be a Prime Minister of this country. And throughout the post-independence history of this country, Barbados has been fortunate and blessed to have ministers of finance who were not using the office to advance unsound political ambitions because they were prime ministers. And that ministers of finance could come to the country and give the people of the country the facts and not seek to mislead them, and not seek to get them to believe that one thing was happening when something else was happening, because there was no need for the ministers of finance to give this rosy view of things in order to promote their own political careers and their own political ambitions. The dangerous, irresponsible experiment that David Thompson has set in train is that he left the man, by his decision in the Ministry of Finance, to seek to use that office not to govern Barbados properly or to manage its economic and financial affairs properly, but to use that office to seek to advance his career to prime ministership. And what have we had? A Minister of Finance who refuses to accept reality. In January, you will recall, Clyde, that we had a press conference. it was in February, I think, that the reserves fell in January. Early sign of problems. We held a press conference to alert the country things are not going well. And what did we simply do? Countermanded it by having the newspapers. I know he jumped over a lot of tailings and they know a lot of tailings. To put out a story that expect an economic spurt this year. The central bank, I said at the start of the year, economy was going to grow by 2 or 2.5%, but that the central bank was in the process of revising its growth for the year. And that not 2.5, but 3. And you know, all of that was intended to create a public perception that Chris was not only in large, but in charge, but he was making things better for the people of Barbados. And all of that had nothing to do with the Barbados economy. It had to do with Chris Sinclair seeking to advance his claims that he was a better person to lead Barbados than Flanders. That was a dangerous, irresponsible political experiment that we in Barbados now are to be made victims of. And then you heard Chris Sinclair tell you that the policies are working. But which policies? He told you that in January. And the VAT was to be effective from December. But when he told you the policies were working, the policies had not yet fully come into effect. Because the cutting your income, the remove your income allowance, your income tax allowances became effective only at the end of January. The changes to the drug service came into effect in April. So all along, rather than giving you a realistic view of what is happening in this economy, simply was telling you the policies are working. And every time you tell us that the things are getting worse, you get this perception being put out there by him and the other world. Have nothing to fear, everything is on track. Now, as I tell you, a minister of finance is at his worst if he doesn't deal with reality, accept reality, and take early measures to deal with the reality no matter what the reality is. But we have a minister of finance who cannot accept an unfavorable reality and take appropriate measures to deal with that reality. Because he needs to have a glorious reality painted for him, not because it has anything to do with your future or your circumstances, but because it has to do with his political conditions. Have you all ever read that wonderful poem by Wilfred Owen, Dulce et Decorum, in which he speaks about children anxious for some desperate glory? Chris Sinclair, as a minister of finance, is not interested in reality. He is interested, he is anxious for some desperate glory, because that is the only means by which he will move from where he is to where he wants to be. And I'm glad now that commentators in Barbados have started to tell the government, level with the people. Because our circumstances are one in which we have a massive crisis in our public finances, and quite like I spoke to it. We will be left for 14 years. I said targets of this country's fiscal affairs. Deficit should not go beyond 2.5% unless we have a recession and we will do a little counter-cyclical measures and then get back up. For 14 years, we succeeded in doing that. I know I'm hearing about deficit of 8 to 10% of the GDP every year. Can't be sustained. We have a situation where we ran a country for 14 years with Sinclair and paying our bills, paying our wages and not having to borrow. I know I was going to tell you about $500 million a year to pay their bills. Madness. We have an economy that can't find itself going to go fast. People used to worry because we had the economy growing at a faster rate than we said it should grow at. We planned for the economy to grow at 3%, it was growing at 4.5% when we left office. And we have a country that was on a development path. Had reached the stage when we left office where it had become the developing country in the world that had attained developed status on the state of the humanitarian development. Growth, development, fiscal affairs working in harmony. I know we have a country that has been torn apart by a fiscal crisis, a lack of growth, and a lack of development. And our task is to bring these people back into harmony so that the government's fiscal position and the growth of the country and the development of the country can go hand in hand. But the dangerous experiment that you have is that Chris Sinclair is not interested in sharing with you the true circumstances of this country. Because you know what? Last time when he spoke in the budget debate, he did not have a track record. He has a track record now. And Chris Sinclair's policies have failed. And Chris Sinclair's policies are failing. And we face in this country the dismal prospect of things getting progressively worse. And that is the issue to which we want to direct our attention. So that this election in St. Michael Northwest assumes very serious proportions for the Progressive Party. We have an opportunity to rid Barbados of a political menace. We have the opportunity in this campaign to take Chris Sinclair out of the political equation of this country and to allow Barbados to go back to that which we where you have the Minister of Finance who is motivated not by distorting things for the sake of his own political career, but a minister who will face reality and deal with reality and fix reality. Now, this is not something that is new to Chris Sinclair. Before Chris Sinclair came to government, he was the head of an NGO organization called the Caribbean Policy Development something. CP, whatever. CPDC. And this is the nature of the man. We were then, as Caribbean leaders, negotiating the economic partnership agreement with Europe. And Chris Sinclair went around the Caribbean, calling it not a reaper, but a rip-off. He did, and he published a paper in those terms. The most lurid, the most sensational representation of things is his forte. That is his trademark, rather than giving you the reality that exists. So the EPA with Europe was misrepresented all across the Caribbean by Chris Sinclair. Not for what it is and was intended to be, but what his imagination told him that politically he should say. We are having the same thing today with his representations about the Barbados economy. And it is ridiculous. It is scary. And we want a number of things to be done. And people have started to call for reality to be faced, and the people of Barbados to be told the truth. I like Reagan saying that the Lord said in his press conference that he could not give the numbers on the public finances the truth because they were provisional. This is what Barbados said. That a governor of the central bank tells you, when he said that the June numbers are bad, he says he can't give the June numbers because they are provisional. But here it is. The April numbers were provisional too. And the May numbers are provisional. If you read his press release, they are both provisional, but he gave you those too. The numbers that he gave you on the GDP for January to June are provisional. So all are provisional. But he tells you that he can give you some that are provisional, but he can't give you the June numbers because they are provisional. And you must therefore appreciate that they are toying with you. And the only way in which you can run a country or run a government is not to face reality. When we in the Barbados Labour Party, we are doing our best to fully get a picture of what faces this country. And it is an ugly thing. We wish it was otherwise. But we wish it was being dealt with, and we believe that our circumstances are not lost beyond recall. And you must believe me when I tell you that the Labour Party's team will work to place before this country a program that is serious, addresses the realities that face this country, but politics that will succeed. I mean, we were there in '94 when the Democratic Party left us a mess to deal with. We are there again, and we look forward to the challenge of leading this country back into the place. But I need to say a few things about our politics. So, as I indicated, once the crop season is started, we're going to change gear. There are a lot of things that we talked about in forums that are different from this forum was really holding our meetings. So we're going to change gear. But before we change gear, I want every constituency to be ready. And I've been having meetings with candidates to make sure that we have constituency management teams in place and that our candidates are doing the work in the field, because all politics is local. This nomination is coming after the others. I would like the members and supporters of the Labour Party in St. Michael Northwest to work quickly to put a management team, a campaign management team in place, and to help the candidate do at least one full canvass of this constituency. This constituency was won by the Barbados Labour Party before, and Gregory, you must be very come to tell you that we are coming to win it again. I also want to urge that there be discipline, only discipline in the Barbados Labour Party. What have you found about this nomination exercise? Or any exercise under me as political leader? I do not have candidates that I force on constituencies. I do not believe in that. I was almost once not a candidate because the leader of the party then had a view that Owen should have been the person to run in St. Peter, and my political career was saved for me because he said, Peter Brown says, we want to have Owen Arthur as our candidate. And throughout my whole history, I do not get involved in picking candidates for constituencies. I believe that parties have greatest chances of winning elections when they rely upon the local people in constituencies to say who are the best people to come forward to represent them. And this evening we have a candidate who is here with the full endorsement of the people of this constituency. But let me also make an additional point. I want the Labour Party to have a laser focus on the work before us. The work before us is not for us to get tangled up among ourselves and fighting among ourselves as to who should be what and who should not be what. Our fight is to fight to rescue and restore and save this country for the people of this country. I cannot, in 40 years of leadership of this party, I never bothered my head about who was General Secretary. I can't be bothered. Because they felt that once people came forward, they came forward to serve the party rather than use their position to advance any career ambitions. It didn't bother me who was the chairman of the party either. It didn't bother me who was the president to believe in the socialists or who was the head of the dynasty. And for 40 years we had peace and quiet in the Baptist Civil Party. That is true. And I know at the conferences we're caught up in foolishness about fights here and fights there. We were focused about how to mobilize the country and the party to run Barbados properly. That is what we have to be concerned with in the Barbados Civil Party. I don't want to continue to hear about this body got this candidate and that body got that candidate. Let us have order in this party. And if people come forward to serve, they come forward to serve rather than use service in the party for foolish career ambitions. And I'm still hearing too much that you got this body fighting for that post and that body fighting for that post as part of which group. No! Anybody who's a member of this party is entitled to come forward and want to serve, but not in the context of using that contest to keep the party off balance or to distract this party from what must be our one focus at this time. I just didn't have come here to say that I wish that our affairs could continue to be done as they were done this evening. Where we settle behind a man or a woman, unanimity, close ranks, and let us go forward. And then, that is the party that I have known for 27 years. That is the party that I want to have carry into the future. And I'm going to believe that we have a party that has a Labour Party way of doing things. And that's the way it has to be. And I cannot know. And I heard about things that the women's at a contest of posted the living young socialists. Cut it out. And let us focus on what we have to deal with. The people's business. The people of Barbados Labour Party are suffering as never before. They are depending upon us. And I'm begging you, do not let us fail the people. Good night. God bless.
All you Labour warriors come. Roll call. Now let me go. Down, 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 down. We can let them down, down, down. Down, 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 down. We can let them down, down, down. Them down, them down. Down, 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 down. We can let them down, down, down. Come, come, come. Down, 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 down. We can let them. Addicted to the party.